Hello, welcome to News with Rupert. I'm your host, Rupert. So there's some lingering, dare I say festering news from Surrey, BC recently. On August 19th, a 13-year-old boy named Marquice Jeffers-Harris was hit by a car while riding a skateboard on the street. The driver transported Marquice home, dropped him off outside, and left. It's pretty bad, right? His mother, Iseda, sure thought so when she came outside and found him bleeding from multiple parts of his body and unable to walk. Fired up with the rage of a loving mother, she did some independent research and discovered that the driver was a woman from a nearby high school. Her name was Cheryl Quashie. She'd failed to supply her contact information, didn't take Marquice to the hospital, and didn't even have the decency to follow up in any way with the parents or guardians. I guess she just chalked it up as a weird day and forgot about it. Like, oh, that was weird when I hit that kid on the skateboard. Man, I got more attention for a rolled ankle in my grade 10 basketball game. And I was terrible at basketball. I got less than 1 point per game average in grade 10. They were probably stoked that I was hurt, so they don't have to put me in out of pity because I was that bad. I had heart, but damn, this kid didn't just sprain his ankle or roll it, he broke it in 3 places, and all she did was give him a rag, like a used towel. That's not first aid, Cheryl. You're a teacher in high school, you know basic first aid, right? The plot thickens when we find out what Cheryl teaches at Semiahmoo. She teaches Law 12, amongst other subjects in social studies. Makes me question, did she know what she was doing? Did she know that she wasn't going to get in trouble because she knows the in and outs of the law? I actually doubt that she's evil. I mean, she's probably just too concerned with her own life to care. And it turns out that was her excuse. When the police contacted her, she stated she was too stressed out because her mom's in the hospital that she couldn't do any better and didn't phone 911. Can you really say you're too stressed out to call 911? You know why it's 911, right? Because even a small child can remember a 3-digit number and phone for help. And you had him in your car anyway, so why didn't you just drive him to the hospital? Instead, you just drop him off outside. And you're like, well, that's cool, I did my job. Whoever finds him there can take him to the hospital. I don't even think he's hurt, even though he couldn't walk and he was bleeding. Jeez, Cheryl. When Iseda broke the story on social media outlets, it got picked up by the Tyee newspaper, CBC News, and also Black Lives Matter Vancouver. In what appears to be a classic response, neither Semiahmoo High School or Surrey School District have even asked Cheryl to take accountability, and they stand by their employee. Semiahmoo has actually deleted comments from their Instagram page which said #WhatAboutMarquice and removed the ability to comment on some of their posts. According to the Tyee paper, the overwhelming majority of people in that community of White Rock, where Semiahmoo School is, are siding with their beloved teacher. Look, I get it. She's probably that awesome, chill, personable teacher who has your back in grade 12, and knows some of the pop culture references. And, she looks like the kind of lady who read Eat, Pray, Love, likes vanilla scented candles, and rocks a Canucks jersey to school on game days. But it doesn't matter if you don't take accountability for your actions. Just because you're a nice teacher doesn't mean you're perfect. So for Cheryl's Law 12 students, let's ask them to be the jury. The Criminal Code of Canada states that the driver must give personal details if a person is injured or requires assistance. Cheryl did not do this. The BC Motor Vehicle Code of Conduct echoes this requirement, specifically stating that their name, license, and proof of insurance must be given, and the driver must remain at the scene or render all reasonable assistance. Cheryl did not do this. For the past month and a half, Iseda Jeffers-Harris has launched an online campaign. It's a federal petition. She's trying to make it so that if a minor is hit by a vehicle, it is the driver's responsibility to immediately report that incident. Cheryl did not do this. On the flip side, Cheryl Quashie's family and supporters have been taking their time to message Iseda on Instagram, some of them asking her to be easy on Cheryl because she doesn't deserve it. And another person who is a male has actually called her a liar and claims that she fabricated the evidence of the photos of Marquice's leg. And some people on Instagram or Facebook, I'm not sure exactly, said that Marquice is at fault because he shouldn't be skateboarding on the street. I guess you shouldn't play street hockey on the street or street basketball on the street, or ride your bicycle, your road bicycle on the road. I guess that's not a place to do those road activities with your recreational equipment specifically for that space. He's a teenager. He likes skateboarding on the street. I mean, you can just imagine someone hitting some kid off a Razor scooter and being like, whatever, kids, you shouldn't be scootering around here anyways. You're lucky I dropped you off at home and didn't wrap you in the street with my used gym shorts. And I haven't even gotten into the issue of systemic racism yet. So for anyone who's easily triggered by identity politics, hold on to your khakis, because we're going for a ride. Cheryl is a blonde white woman. She has clearly broken the BC Motor Vehicle Act and Criminal Code of Canada, yet she was immediately backed by the RCMP, her school, and the entire school district. We see here that on a systems level, she's being upheld not only as innocent of any misdemeanor, but also the victim. Marquice is a black youth in Surrey. Surrey has the largest percentage of black people in the entire province, but it's still an extreme minority. They represent 1.9%. Now, in an area like Guildford, where Marquice attends high school, the profile of the neighborhood is majority POC. It's 61% visible minorities. He may appear to be a part of a diverse demographic, but if you ask any black students, as the Star newspaper did in their article on racism in Surrey schools back in 2019, being one of the two black kids in a group of interracial students doesn't make them feel diverse. They are still the only black kids around. In the case of Abeg Khan, the black student from a Calgary Catholic school who was bullied incessantly with racist slurs and cartoons, she ended up committing suicide because of the trauma. She received this specific type of bullying because of her looks. Her father is saying that the teachers didn't do enough to prevent the bullying or spread awareness about anti-black racism in the school. Months after this incident, another principal in Calgary said the N-word to some black students on campus, and then he suspended them for spreading the recording online. This resulted in a student walkout and protest. Clearly something is going on here. We have black students in Alberta and BC speaking up against the racism they receive at school. Amidst worldwide protests against white supremacy, I'm surprised that Semiahmoo High School has not made Marquice and his mother feel more heard. Iseda has mentioned online that people should look at racism in their own backyard rather than across the border. I can't help but agree. It looks to me like the citizens of the United States, led by the black community, are fighting racism with all their might. And although our solidarity is good, we need to think more locally. We are desensitized to seeing black pain. This was expressed in a 2016 study by the Association of American Medical Colleges, in which 40% of first and second year students literally thought that black people's skin was thicker than white people's skin. In June of 2020, the Ontario Health Coalition released a 20-year meta-analysis and systematic review which proved black people were less likely to receive pain medication than other patients. They have since declared anti-black racism a public health crisis. In grade 7, my friend's stepdad called black jelly babies the N-word and used the full ER ending, like in front of us, white kids in a house. This is the kind of attitude that manifests not just socially around the dinner table, but also in institutions and in matters of life and death. It is pervasive, and it's the type of programming that probably entered Cheryl's mind when she decided to drop Marquice off outside and leave without any consideration. His pain was normalized, less important, and to her, not serious. In this situation, the biggest issue is the RCMP's defense of Cheryl, Surrey School District's failure to make a statement, and Semiahmoo supporting a sensitive teacher rather than an injured student. It's Marquice who's on crutches still, and he has to walk around with the knowledge that maybe a kid like him can be left outside the door with a broken foot because maybe he doesn't matter. This has been News with Rupert. I'll see you next time.
It's morphin' time!